Hey guys, it's Believe Gaga, and today is another recap on Who is Mr. Robot. Of course, it is Wednesday night. This will probably be up Thursday night, Friday morning, Friday afternoon at the latest. But this episode, let me just get started. This episode was intense. We thought we saw the intensity in the first episode, the breakdowns and stuff. This is just crazier. And if you're wondering why I'm wearing these dark sunglasses and my Skulls on Fire necklace, you can watch the reviews on those. That's because we're doing a little bit of mourning in this episode, so let me take this off. This episode is wow, and I was tweeting and stuff, and Sam Esmail, the creator of Who is Mr. Robot, deserves an Emmy. I don't know if that's the right award for TV shows and stuff. He deserves an Emmy. I don't know, a Grammy. I don't know. Give him the Nobel Peace Prize. Take it away from Malala and give it to Sam Esmail. This show is just really intense. I feel this show low-key is his own way of giving his own opinions and insights on what he sees wrong with the world, because Sam Esmail seems sort of like a recluse. And when I say recluse, not in a negative way, but he's sitting back and he's looking kind of like Elliot in a way. And I guess the Mr. Robot Christian Slater in the video, or in the show, is kind of I guess his conscience, telling him, this and that, because, he has the idea, and it's are you going to put it to use, or are you going to be a coward? And I guess the way of putting his idea into use is making the show and stuff, and this show is just I think it's very good representation of, I guess our society and stuff, and the way everything's planned out, and very well executed and written and everything like that. I think this is a fabulous show, and I don't watch a lot of TV besides, anything Kardashians or the Rich Kids of Beverly Hills and, I guess the new docuseries of Caitlyn Jenner, but I've really honestly never been more thrilled and, excited to watch TV or, stay tuned or stay up to date as much as I can with, a TV show, or even the actors. I mean, Rami Malek, of course, obviously. I sang for him and stuff, and he's, my bae. But, I don't know, it's a very different kind of TV show, and I know Sam Esmail wanted to make Who is Mr. Robot into a movie, and then he changed it into a TV show, but he still kept everything the same, and I really applaud him for that, because if this were a movie, this would have had to have been a franchise. Now, could he obviously have made enough money? Obviously, could have made a lot more, probably, kind of like J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter in a way, but the fact that it was a TV show, I think it reaches a broader audience, because I don't know if it's the promo team or management or whoever it is that really kind of made this, but I have some good ideas on how to promote the next couple of seasons, trust me. Sam Esmail, USA, Terry Goldman, if any of you want to talk to me, I'm ready to sign up and work for USA and Who is Mr. Robot if you want promo and stuff, because I'm a social media junkie, and obviously I'm giving you guys free promo here on my YouTube channel, but besides the fact, on TV, he reaches a broader audience, and it's kind of I guess, that propaganda, I want to say back in the 20s or 50s, how Coke would flash, buy Coke and popcorn, kind of a subliminal message, and I feel that Who is Mr. Robot is somewhat a subliminal message on, society and problems, and low-key throwing those problems out there, to the world in a TV show, but that's enough of my, I guess, love for Sam Esmail, Who is Mr. Robot, and Rami Malek, and just the whole show in general, and I hope it goes far. I know I think it was said that there's only going to be 4 or 5 seasons. I don't know if that means including this one, so that means 5 or 6 total. But honestly, it's going to be a very good run, and I think people are going to look back on this and really applaud Sam Esmail. And I think he is a god for writing that. The way he did this and the way that they did their research for the social anxiety part of it and everything, I think they really put their work into it with who they have directing it, who they had write it, and who they had do this and who they had do that, and the actors. I think it's fabulous, and I don't know, Sam Esmail he really hit it out of the park. I don't know if that's the right saying. He really hit it out of the park with this show, so I don't know, let's get into this. So this is episode 1.5, Brave Traveler, and then it's always kind of I guess in code, and the other ones are .wmv and .epo or something like that. And then this one was .asf, and I was Brave Traveler as fuck. So, I don't know. I thought that was a little LOL. I wrote that on my notes. I put a little LOL up here. But this one's Brave Traveler, and that kind of, as always, it's all like it's basically like an album, and like the title track, it's gonna come out in the album somewhere. If it's not the first single on the album, it's gonna come out somewhere. So this is kind of like how I guess he works his mysteriousness and stuff with the episodes and everything like that. But it's called Brave Traveler, and this is episode 1.5, which means it is episode 6 in the series. And I think there's 2 episodes left, or maybe 3, I don't know. So, first off, like, it shows, like, the flashbacks of, like, the previous episodes and stuff, and, you're like, Vera, I think, is, like, little brother, and, like, getting hurt, and then, it's just a bunch of, I guess, showing little pieces that not even I picked up, and I think the way they make, like, the previews of the last episodes and how they build into the new one kind of shows, like, how perfectly planned each episode is, and how they throw those little, I guess, like, Easter eggs, like you would say in Black Ops and stuff, and then you see it and stuff like that, and you're like, oh, wow, like, I didn't notice that before, so that's how it goes. And then we have, like, Angela and stuff, and, like, how it's not going to work out, and Tyrell at the CTO dinner, and how she's gonna have a ruined life with a boyfriend after she put the little disc of the Dark Army and all safe and stuff, and Colby on TV at the dinner party, and the ping scene with Tyrell, which I was like, what? When he walked in like the CTO's wife or something, and then Vera and Shayla, and like that kind of drama and stuff. So been on my knees for like 7 minutes talking. So I tried to look up what this was, but I couldn't really find anything because I thought maybe like this has something to do with something, but I don't know. But the episode opens up where it's like zoomed in on a painting, and it kind of did confirm it in that sense, but I don't know. Like I thought it was like kind of those like those schizophrenic paintings, because I took psychology and stuff, and like the paintings that they paint and everything like that, like, you know, like, oh, like this is the monster that bothers me, this is my demons, going back to the episode called Demons and stuff. So I was just like, like the way that they do this, like the visuals, the audios, and I guess the context of the episodes really do play along with each other. And you, like, if you piece things together, like I've been saying my other recaps, like, amazing. So there's a painting, I'm like, oh, does this represent anxiety and stuff? And it opens, and, like, there's music playing and stuff, and then Elliot's talking, and so it kind of did, like, you know, kind of confirm it, where he's like, oh, there's, like, fight or flight and stuff. He goes, but I'm Elliot, I am flight, I am fear, I am panic, I am anxiety. So obviously I was spot on with the anxiety part. But then it goes to him having dinner with Shayla, that little hoe, at some, like, I guess, Mexican mafia restaurant or something, because something happens, and then we're like, what? So they're eating, or, like, they're supposed to be eating, but she's not eating and stuff, and it's just like, oh, you should eat and stuff, and she's just like, no, like, she's kind of out of it, I guess. She's afraid, like, because, you know, like, she was basically, like, I guess, kidnapped, that we found in the last episode, and Vera called, Elliot on the phone, and was basically like, oh, I have Shayla, but you gotta do a job for me if you ever want to see Shayla again. So that happens, and then, I don't know, this is kind of like, in my own mind, I was thinking maybe this is like somewhat of a foreshadowing. So this guy is like walking, this kind of like big guy, and he knocks over the water and stuff, and then like the way the water spilled, and then like an old lady comes and cleans it up, and she kind of looks at Shayla, and she's like, oh, you don't like the food? And she's like, no, it's okay, and she's cleaning up the water, and the way that the water spilled kind of goes to the end of the episode, where I'm like, I don't know, like, the way, because I see the episode first, and I'm live tweeting along on Twitter. I'll put it in the description if I remember. And then as I watch it the second time, I try to, like, connect pieces together, you know, like I say, like, it's a huge web, and Elliot's in the middle, and everything comes back to Elliot in some way. And is he a game in between all these people? In my opinion, yes. It was confirmed in this episode, but going back to it, like, water spilled, the old lady cleans up, and then she kind of looks at Shayla, and she's like, I don't know, I felt like it's kind of like one of those, like, I know you're gonna die in a way kind of things, and then she just cleans it up, and she's like, she just walks away. But I don't know, the way the water spilled and stuff, I was like, so let's hope I remember that in the end of this episode to reference it back again. And then she's like, oh, like, again, like, I guess foreshadowing the death. It's like, he's like, what's wrong? And she's like, oh, I'm just remembering the first time we met and stuff. And that's, like, I guess an odd statement to say, because it's, like, doesn't that usually happen in movies when people are like, oh, like, they're gonna die or something, you know? So then they drag Shayla away and stuff, and she's like, oh my god, and Elliot, like, gets up, like, he's gonna, like, get her, but then they put, like, a gun to him, and that's where I said it was weird, because, like, nobody else in the restaurant reacted. Like, they're just like, well, I guess this happens on the down low, like, every day, like, some hoe just gets dragged away, and they're just like, we see this every day, or like I said, maybe it's a Mexican mafia restaurant, I don't know. But she gets dragged away, and then you see the car in the background, and I don't know about this part, because I didn't see them, like, put Shayla in the car. Like, I don't remember, because I rewinded it and played it, but, like, they don't really show, like, if they throw her in the back seat or in the trunk or something, so I'm just like, did the guy just get in? Like, where's Shayla, you know? Just me thinking. And then he's having a phone call with Vera and stuff, and then he's like, oh, like, I figured out the meaning of your name. It's, like, brave and true and stuff. And he's like, mine's similar, but it also means savage. And then he's like, are we savage or are we brave? And that kind of goes back to the savage part of, like, Elliot, I guess, doing the morphine and having, like, his addiction and stuff, and, like, his little mind trips and everything, and doing what he does, like, how far he goes to protect the people he wants and stuff. But then at the same time, he's also being brave because he's, like, changing the world, like, with Mr. Robot at Steel Mountain and stuff. And then it's, like, this whole revolution, distribution of wealth stuff. So it's kind of like, is he savage in the way he does things? Yes, because also look at how, like, he broke down Bill in the last episode and exploits. But then, is he brave? Obviously, because he's going through, like, really great lengths and risks to, like, do the stuff that he does. So, I mean, I guess those are spot-on definitions for the origin of his name. And then Vera said that he wasn't angry when he found out that it was Elliot who did it. He was, like, impressed. Like, he wants his hacking power, basically. Like how, I guess, Tyrell and everyone else wants, like, Elliot's power because they found out, like, he is, like, I guess, he's damaged in the sense with, like, if they can, like, I guess, cozy up to him, they get to use him, and they find out that there's a lot of power. And that kind of, like, I guess, in, what's that movie that came out? Fast and the Furious 7, where they have that one black girl hacker that has, like, the God's Eye. Like, even though she's some, like, I guess, frail little girl, like, as long as they have her, they can, like, control, like, the whole thing, like, worldwide. So it's kind of what I got from it. And he kept saying tonight, like, has to be the night. So, like, in my mind, because, like, of forensic science and stuff, that in classes that I've taken, I was thinking, I was like, tonight, I'm like, does that mean, like, the body's rotting and stuff? And everything like that, if you've seen the episode, then we all know Shayla died, and if you haven't, well, big spoiler, Shayla's dead, basically, and that's where it goes back to the water being spilled, like, the way the water is spilled, like, the way it was, like, on her neck and stuff, but, like, I guess they slit her throat, like, that's why it looked, like, cleaning her up, and then looking at Shayla, I was like, ooh, maybe they know she's gonna die, like, that's a mess they have to clean up. But, I was like, oh, like, the body, like, rigor mortis or something, you know, I was just thinking, and then, he's just like, I love you, bro, and stuff like that, but then I'm just like, is that, like, another death reference? Because it's, like, death reference, not death, Helen Keller. Because he's like, oh, I love you, brother, basically, and that's kind of, like, an odd statement to say, you know, like, I guess it's, like, those, like, odd, like, I don't know why he said that day, you know, like, it was just a normal day as ever, and he just did this one thing, and then he's dead, you know, so, I don't know, like, that was just me. I was kind of, like, when I was, like, watching this episode, and I feel like this video is gonna be long, because a lot of these episodes have been going, like, longer than an hour. It's like an hour, 8 minutes, you know. But they have a lot of dialogue and a lot of, I guess, like, Easter eggs in it. So, I don't know, I'm liking this. And it goes back to, like, his apartment and stuff, and then Vera's brother and, like, some other gang member, they're like, oh, do what we say and stuff, and then the brother, like, bugs Elliot, and by that, I guess it goes back to, like, debugging and stuff. Like, there's something about him that I guess he kind of picked up, since Elliot's, like, a good reader of people, like, exploits and stuff, from the last episode, obviously, where he broke down Bill, that he's kind of like, oh, what is it? He's like, let me just, I guess, figure this out. And then he hacks into his phone and stuff, and then it cuts to Angela researching the Colby cover-up and trying to contact some lawyers at Allsafe and stuff, and then she gets a call back from only one, which I guess, like, is exciting to her, because she was like, oh, out of everyone I tried and stuff, like, no one was answering and stuff, so I guess she's excited, because, like, you know, that goes back to their parents dying and everything, so that means, I guess, kind of like Melissa Rivers and Joan Rivers, like, she'll get answers if she sues, you know, like, the only way nowadays to get any kind of answer is you have to sue, and it's a process and stuff, so it's kind of very, like, low-key, I guess, reflecting society today in some way. And then it comes back, and Darlene, Shayla's twin, she's dropping USBs in front of the police department and stuff, so at first I didn't know what it was, until, like, I was on Twitter and I saw the Who is Mr. Robot Twitter, and someone had mentioned it, because at first I didn't know it was Darlene, and I thought it was the, what do you call those things, the things that hold lead for mechanical pencils. I thought she was dropping those at first, and I was like, why is she dropping lead, you know? I was like, I don't know, like, is this, like, the pen is mightier than the sword? I was like, I don't know what this is, but she's dropping USBs in front of the police department and stuff, and you're kind of like, weird, because she's dropping a lot, so I don't know. And then it goes to Angela with a lawyer who represented, like, the victims of the families, which was her and Elliot's family, because, you know, that whole, like, cancer deal. And then she's like, oh, well, we have more info from the data dumps that had happened from the hack. And then she's like, maybe that can do something, like, we can do something together, you know, because they have the information now. And then she's basically like, so you want to take, the lawyer tells Angela, she's like, you want to take internet gossip to the largest conglomerate in, like, the history of human and stuff. And then I guess that kind of, like, shuts Angela down in a way. But then she's kind of like, she's like, well, you might have everyone called back. So that obviously means, like, the lawyer, I guess, knows that that case is unfinished and she wants to unfinish it even though it's dismissed. And that, I guess, justice will be served. It has to be served, like they say. That little cliche. And I guess it's up to Angela to do it now. Like, if the lawyer won't do it, then Angela will do it. But the lawyer is still gonna, like, I guess, low-key back her up. Somehow we're probably gonna see the lawyer in another episode, or I guess season 2. There's only 2 episodes left of this. It goes back to, like, the police department, and one cop picks up the USB, and then he's doing, like, an E-tune survey, and then this part, like, kind of, like, caught me off guard, because I was like, everything's an E and stuff, and I don't know if he had ever noticed that, I think it was in the first episode, that it wasn't until, I guess, after Elliot mentioned E-Corp was Evil Corp, that everybody in the cast, like, every character started mentioning E-Corp as Evil Corp. Like, he wasn't the only one. Like, everybody sees the evil. So I was kind of like, now that I was thinking about it, I was like, huh. I was like, I missed that. He unplugs the computer because, like, it was, like, those kind of survey malware. So, like, he gets a virus and stuff. But, like, the police department's antivirus picks it up. And then Elliot, like, when they unplug the computer, like, it's like, oh, like, host, like, cut off or something like that. And then Elliot gets slapped in the head by Vera's brother, Isaac. And he's like, what's taking you so long and stuff. And then the dog's, like, barking obnoxiously. And he's like, well, I have to take the dog out so it doesn't pee and stuff. And then as he's walking, he meets Darlene and stuff. And he's like, oh, he's like, the exploit, you know, like, how did you do that and stuff and everything. She's like, well, I had an hour. Like, don't put your problems on me. Like, you asked for help and I did what I could, you know. And then she's determined to tell, like, Vera's thugs, like, basically that they're assholes and stuff and everything like that, and blah, blah, blah. Like, she's trying to act, like, I guess, high and mighty and put her big girl pants on. And then the guy shows up with the gun and stuff, and he's like, this is it, girl. Like, this is, like, the deal, you know, basically. And then she basically gets dragged into the whole problem now because, you know, she got involved, like they say. And then it goes back to the lawyer, and then they're like, oh, no one called. And then the lawyer's like, oh, it took, like, 8 years to rebuild my reputation after the case is dismissed and stuff, like I said. And then she's like, even though they are evil, she's like, it's just not worth it, you know, I guess, to throw herself back in that drama as a lawyer and stuff, because, you know, like, it's like, I guess, I don't know, like a double-edged sword this episode is showing us. And all these episodes are the same, like, whatever Elliot's actions do, there's always, like, a, I guess, equal and opposite reaction or something. Because he's always getting caught in the middle of the crossfire, like, if he has to do something for one person, but it could affect this person, or it could affect a lot of people, so it's very, like, it's very, intense season and stuff like that. Well, series, because, you know, it's just new, but you know what I mean. So then, it goes to, the lawyer tells Angela, she's like, you need reliable eyewitnesses who were there, like, when, I guess, this stuff happened, to basically say, like, oh, yeah, it did happen and stuff like that, so she's gonna go to someone, and then she's like, you can't falsify info and everything, and she's like, you need to get it done, basically. And then Angela's like, well, when the lawyer asks her a question, she's like, well, I work for a company that has no respect for me, and a boyfriend who cheated on me, and my father is in debt, and stuff. And I think that kind of, like, goes back to the first episode where Mr. Robot tells Elliot that his plan was for the largest wealth redistribution in history. And then when Elliot's checking Angela's bank account, basically, and, like, all the debt she owes for her student loans and stuff, and then he's kind of like, well, this would be a good way to help Angela and stuff. So it kind of goes to that in the sense of, I guess, is Angela now going to be, like, the next Mr. Robot or the next Elliot, as we're seeing? Stefan Because, I mean, she was already taking, like, some, like, drugs in one of the episodes with Shayla, so it's kind of like, you know, we're not too far. We're not too far from this, so you never know what could happen in this episode, because there are a lot of twists, and this one tonight had a huge twist, you know, like, this episode is just like, back to it. So it cuts to Tyrell. He's walking into, like, unexpectedly with the CTO and stuff, and he's kind of like, oh, like, you know, like, thank you for dinner and blah 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 and everything, blah blah blah. Like, he's just, like, talking to him and stuff. And then at this point, I feel that CTO guy kind of figured Tyrell out. Like, I mean, he kind of knew from the beginning. And Tyrell and his, like, Russian 50 Shades of Grey hot wife was kind of like, well, this man is dangerous and stuff and blah, blah, blah. But I guess Tyrell, being, like, the arrogant person he is, like Mr. Robot described him in the previous episode, he kind of just dove head first, and I guess he was like, well, let's see what I can do and stuff, but came back to bite him in the ass, in a way. And then he's basically like, oh, I was reading the wrong thing, hold on. He's basically like, thank you for dinner, like I said, and he's like, tell your wife I said hello, and we all know what happened on the last episode when he said hello to his wife. It was not a hello. He was standing in front of her while she was peeing and stuff. And then that's when the CTO guy asked him, he's like, did you enjoy the view? And then he's like, oh, I don't know what you mean by that. And he's like, well, you watched my wife pee and stuff. And then he's like, you want to watch me pee too? He's like, I can fly my brother on. He's like, I bet you'd like, you'd bust a nut to like watching us pee and stuff. And like, to me, that was like a reference to like his gay sexual encounter with that front office guy when he went in for that meeting of the CTO stuff. So I was like, maybe did they know he had a hookup with that guy in a way? And then he's like, you're not going to be CTO, so whatever, you know. And then he's like, wait, he's going to give him a watch that Tyrell was like, oh, what's that? You know, is that like a whatever and stuff? He's like, here's a watch, basically like for money. He's like, oh, don't you live in that one place and you still got to pay your mortgage and stuff? And then he's like, here, he's like, this can, like, help you probably cover your mortgage and stuff since you have a baby on the way, you know? Like, he's kind of, like, talking condescendingly to him. And this is kind of referencing when Mr. Robot kind of told Elliot to, well, no, when he was going with Elliot for lunch, and then Mr. Robot was kind of like, no, don't do it in a way. And then when Elliot was like, oh, you eat here, like, in the cafeteria, like, aren't you, like, some big shot? Like, shouldn't you be eating somewhere else if you're so, like, I guess, ostentatious and stuff? So it's kind of like the CTO got under Tyrell's skin in a way, and he kind of looked mad about that. So I was just like, oh, is that like Tyrell's exploit? Is that Tyrell's bug? You know, like he's wants to be ostentatious, but at the same time, like he's not. Because in the last episode, he was like criticizing that waiter and stuff, and like, oh, I could never be a regular person, like never live a regular life. You know, it's like, oh, poor people. But then in this episode, it's like he's the poor person because the CTO guy obviously probably has more money than him and stuff. So I guess that double-edged sword, like his narcissistic, ostentatious kind of point of view, kind of got him like poked. So there was that. And then he goes to Angela buzzing while Elliot, Darlene, and the two guys are like in Elliot's apartment, and like they're working and like is trying to get Vera out and stuff. And it's kind of funny though, because she's just like, Elliot, I know you're there, like ring the buzzer so I can get in, basically. And they're like, okay, like go get her and stuff and whatever. And then it cuts to Tyrell freaking out, and he's like throwing dishes or like smashing stuff, and then his 50 Shades hoe is like I don't know why I touched my closet, I thought it was open for some reason. His 50 Shades hoe wife is like just eating like an egg roll or something. She's just like stuff like all calmly while he's having like a huge meltdown or freak out in the background. So that was kind of like, I guess, comedic in a way. And where am I? He's angry and stuff, but then she's like, I know why you're angry. And she's like, because I'm right. And then he's just kind of looks at her and stuff and everything, and then he's like, oh, I should have like taken the chance while I had it. Like her legs were open for me, because like when she was peeing and he was watching her, like she kind of like opened her legs a little, and she kind of like moved forward, like I guess like sexual advancement. Like she's like, okay, take me, Tyrell, but you know, I would only do that to Rami Malek, so she does not have her priorities right and stuff. And then the 50 Shades hoe is kind of like, oh, I guess she didn't have him open wide enough, basically. Which is kind of funny. And then he's like, oh, I put both of us at risk and stuff. And then he goes to like, oh, when both of us are at risk. I thought that was like a Darlene Dark Army reference. And in that sense, it's kind of like when Darlene said that the Dark Army backed out, she's like, look, I can do this, and we can like either execute the plan or not. And Mr. Robot was like, no, because like if you do it, like there are consequences, or like everything will like blow over, or not blow over, but like blow up in their face. Like shit will hit the fan if she basically does that. So like you have to be patient and stuff, and like we can't always like do it on ourselves in our own terms. So I thought that was like a little Darlene Dark Army reference, you know, because I said everything comes back to the beginning. And then she's still saying, like, cowardly no and stuff. And then she's like, we know what she wants. And so, like, she basically helps us. And then Tyrell's like, what do you mean by that? And then she's like, we know she wants to be wanted. So that, like, that sexual advancement in Tyrell, in a way, is kind of showing that, like, she wants to be, I guess, like, touched in a way. Like, maybe she's not having enough sex with her own husband. So there's that. And then it goes back, and Angela's talking about Evil Corp's actions and stuff with Elliot. And she's like, oh, yeah, we were right. We always knew and stuff. And then she's like, that newscast that night. She's like, it was a reminder of, like, how angry I am, like, and then I thought this was, like, a Cher reference, closer to the truth, her recent album, because one of the lyrics is, like, and I get angry as I get closer to the truth, and she's like, there's a time to dance, time to laugh, time to hoot, and stuff. Like, if you kind of listen to the lyrics and you kind of put it into the context of the show, like, I don't know, it'll make sense to you, you know. That's why I say, like, with all my ideas for promo of Mr. Robot, I think I can do it, because I can put in a lot of pop culture references and stuff, but nobody ever hires me. So, there's that. But she's basically like, it's like, I get angry as I get closer to the truth, basically. And she's like, I can change the world. And, like, that's her idea with something. And then Elliot kind of listens, like, change the world. Like, wasn't that just Elliot? Like, he was like, oh, I want to change the world and stuff, like, from the invisible hand and everything like that. And then, like, Mr. Robot came along. So, I mean, who is Angela's Mr. Robot? You know? That's why I say, is Angela going to become the new Elliot? Like they say. She's like, it could work and stuff, so that's where I was like, Mr. Robot too. And then Elliot tells Angela, he's like, you do what's right. He's like, trust yourself and stuff. She's like, okay. She's like, I just need it reassured. So this desperately thirsty hoe just came to Elliot just to be like, tell me I'm beautiful, basically. But Rami Malek should be saying that to me, you know? And then she's basically like, oh, how's Shayla and stuff? She's like, I tell her I said hi, and I'm just like, well, we all don't know where Shayla is, but low-key, she's in the back of the trunk dead. And then Mr. Robot's at the stairs, and I'm just like, how is Mr. Robot at the stairs? Like, how is he always there, you know? And I was like, is Mr. Robot real? Is Mr. Robot, like, a figment of Elliot's imagination? Like, I don't know, like, could he not be? Like I said, this show is, like, one big trip and stuff, and I feel like he's not, and I feel like we'll find that out, like, in the last episode or something, but I don't know, like I said, this show has a lot of twists and turns, so you just never know what you're getting with this series. And then he's like, well, we can call the cops and stuff and everything. And then he's like, Shayla's dead when she started working. And I was like, ooh, Shayla's dead. I was like, Shayla is dead. They threw that little bomb in front of us, like they said. And then Mr. Robot's like, you can die. Like, who says he won't, like, kill? Like, he's like, you're dead, she's dead, everyone's dead, basically. Like, who says he's not gonna keep his word, you know? Because, like, he's, like, a gangster. He's an OG. Vera. And Mr. Robot's like, you want to help and stuff. He's like, let her be a memory. And then, like, when he said let her be a memory, and before he said, like, just let her die, basically, I was like, is that foreshadowing that letting her be a memory is, like, I guess, like, Princess Diana, like, that one Elton John song, Something in the Wind, Candle in the Wind or something, like, I was like, are we just low-key saying that Mr. Robot already knows that Shayla's dead, and, like, that's why it says let her be a memory, because, like, I guess that'll, like, be in the back of his mind to, like, go, kind of like in the Avengers when they kill that one guy in the suit, and then Nick Fury kind of lies to them, like, oh, these were found in, like, his pocket and stuff. He throws it, and, like, that kind of, like, I guess gives them, like, something to avenge. So I guess that's what Mr. Robot was trying to do with Elliot in a way. And then he's like, be honest with yourself. He's like, this is old Elliot, like a coward who can't take the truth and stuff. And then Elliot's like, I'm fight, I'm flight. And then he's just like, what am I? Like, Elliot, I guess now he's, like, doubting himself. He's like, what am I? Like, what am I doing? Like, what is the situation and stuff? And then he goes back to his apartment, like, one of the gangster guys is, like, looking at his CDs, but we all know what those CDs are and stuff. Like, he writes down the names of people and he deletes stuff. And then, I don't know if we had noticed this before in an episode. I don't know. It popped out to me. But one of his computers had the little E thing, like, the little E symbol, like the Evil Corp symbol, the E in the circle, and I was like, is Elliot now doing, like, evil work on his computer? Like, is he becoming what he despises in a way on his computer, like the way he's using his power? Maybe in this episode, maybe not, I don't know. But if it was there before, but I don't know. I was like, is this another, like, Easter egg, like they say? Is this another, like, illusion, foreshadowy thingy? I don't know. And then he's like, oh, we need to leave now, basically. And then he's like, to be honest and stuff, like, when I panic and stuff, he's like, it was easy to be numb. And that's kind of referencing his morphine addiction and stuff. So I'm assuming, like, his anxiety is going crazy and stuff, and he's talking to Vera, And while he's doing that, like, his phone is hacking the jail Wi-Fi and stuff like that, so he can, like, do his little plan and everything like that. It's like, oh, it'll open every cell door and stuff, and then Vera's like, woo, and stuff, and he's like, sit back down, because, you know, like, it's just odd for, like, an inmate when you're talking to him, like, whoa! So it's like, sit back down and stuff, and then he's like, my brother and stuff. He's like, now, he's like, Elliot, he's like, has everything, he's like, if you're free, he's like, you gotta leave us alone and everything, and Elliot's like, every 24 hours it's such like an automatic leak, and he's like, and if you kill me it'll leak. It's like, but like every day basically Elliot has to be like rewriting the stuff so it doesn't leak, and I guess Vera's okay and stuff, and he's like, if not, your money will get deleted because if you leave, like, he's like, you need funding to like survive if you flee and stuff, like if you're on the run and stuff. And then Vera's like, oh, just remember I'm gonna hug you when I get out of here and everything like that. So I don't know, there's Vera with this hug, which is always like the way, like his affectionate way showing Elliot he loves him and stuff is kind of just odd, you know, like I'm just like, what is going on in here, so, and just weird. And then it goes to Angela at Colby's and stuff, and then, like, when he's like, oh, it's another reporter, and he looks, and then she kind of is like, and stuff, and he's like, do I know you, or something, like, I guess it kind of, like, the way, like, the, I guess, emotion was given, it was just like, do I know you and stuff, and then, I don't know, the way that she couldn't, like, really look at him without, I guess, like, all those emotions coming back, like, her mom dying, and then, like, Elliot losing his dad and stuff, like, it's kind of like, I guess she can't look death in the eye, you know, because, like, it's kind of their reason that the parents died, like, unjustly. Except for maybe she can't face fear in the face or whatever, and then Elliot's like, oh, it's like, maybe I can hack the cop car or laptop and stuff, because it cuts back to him, like, walking out of the prison after he talked to, Vera. And then Vera's brother is like, oh, I need to chat with Elliot. So I'm like, okay, this is a little fishy. So every time Elliot has a chat with someone, like a personal talk, like, there's always something that they want out of Elliot. So I'm just like, this is not just some regular talk. And this is, I guess, like, kind of the mini twist of the story. And it's like, oh, it's not your day and stuff. I'm like, ooh, is this referencing Shayla? Because we haven't seen Shayla all episode. Like, they just forgot about her. And now it's like, I guess Shayla's like the big elephant in the room, like they say. And then he has a gun to his head and stuff. And then he's like, Elliot figures out, like, I guess his bug or whatever, and he's like, you don't want to free Vera and stuff. He's like, that's why he wants to leave tonight. He's like, because he's like, you have to kill him in prison and stuff like that, so, like, I guess he, like, Vera's brother would be safe, because, like, he basically failed his brother. And then he's like, Vera's protected, and he's like, if you don't get him out, he's like, you die. So this kind of also referenced why Vera's brother Isaac dies at the end of the episode also, because Isaac didn't get Vera out. It was Elliot who gets Vera out, and he's like, I'll break him out and stuff. He's like, you can deal with your brother however and stuff. And Elliot's like, I'm just playing my best move. And I thought this was kind of funny, because, like, the tables turn, like Taylor Swift blank space, in the sense of, since Elliot's always like the pawn in other people's games and stuff, it's kind of like Elliot kind of like turned the tables on them, and like Elliot's like, I guess, the head of the game, and like they're his little pawns in this situation. But little does Elliot know he is still being played, as we find out at the end of the episode, in a very sad and tragic way. My bae was crying, poor Rami Malek. If you could hold me in your arms, you wouldn't cry anymore. And then we go to Darlene being a little hoe, you know, Shayla's twin or whatever. And she's like, Elliot's hacking the cap's laptop while she's doing it. Like, she's basically trying to hook up with the cop, you know. And then he's like, oh, the exploit's there, you know. He's like, I just gotta force feed it into the jail and stuff. So basically, like, you go through the laptop, and as the cop takes the laptop back to the station or whatever, the prison, then, like, that's, like, you basically delivered the package, in a way. And then he's like, okay, drive, Darlene's not part of the plan anymore. He's like, leave her alone and stuff. And then there's a episode ones and zeros reference in the sense of when he tells Vera's brother, he's like, look, he's like, I hit one key, he's like, the plan goes as planned, you know, like, Vera will get out and stuff. And he's like, or I hit another key and all of this is off, and, like, everything is leaked online and stuff. So Elliot's, like, kind of the mindset of, like, he has this power that was referenced at the beginning of the episode, where that Vera's like, oh, I want your power and stuff. But then, like I said, little does Elliot know that he's still being played, and as much as it seems as he's in control, he is not in control in this episode, or like in any episode at all. Like, he's really never in control. That's why I said, is Elliot just a pawn caught in crossfire, and like, he's just being used by everyone around him in a way. And I think that is very much true in this sense. And then he's like, oh, I'm Elliot, and he's kind of like doubting himself. He's like, did I make a mistake? Cause like one key, like I can make a mistake. He's like, no. He's like, I'm Elliot, basically. Like I don't make mistakes. So like it's like that's like his cockiness in the sense of like I can do this and I know what I'm doing and there's no way this is gonna go wrong because like I have all the power this time and like I'm the one making this. But then, like I say, little do we know that Elliot's not always in control, and that's kind of sad in a way. The way he's being used. And then they're at the jail or the prison, they're outside, Elliot and the two gangster guys. And there's like a power outage and stuff, and then all the cell doors open. He's like, oh, we have 2 minutes before like the sirens will go because it's going to show that all the cell doors are still locked and stuff. But little do the cops know that they're already escaping. Like they say, and then there's the breakout and everything, and then Vera finds them. And then they kind of have like a little exchange and stuff, and he's like, oh, shoot that cocksucker. So basically Vera shot his own brother on the head. Not really like literally, but he basically made the other gangsters shoot Vera in the head when you think that they're going to shoot Elliot, like they say. And then that's where I said it's kind of because the brother still failed. Like, the brother thought using Elliot would basically, I guess, please this brother. And it's like, oh, hey, got you out. But, like they say, technically, Elliot got Vera out, and the brother just kind of, I guess, tried to use Elliot to his advantage. But technicality-wise, I guess, Elliot is the one who truly did get Vera out. So, that's how that works. And then he's like, look at Isaac and stuff, and, like, Elliot's scared and stuff. I'm like, oh, Rami Bay, why are you scared? Hold me in your arms. You won't be scared anymore. And then he's just like, that's the proof that the operation is over. Like, he's like, you can leak everything you want. He's like, you can do whatever you want with the information and stuff. He's like, it's over. Like, once he killed his own brother, he's like, it doesn't matter anymore, you know. So I'm just like, ooh, I'm like, savage. When he mentioned in the beginning, he's like, are we savage or are we brave? Vera is savage, and that's why I say, is Elliot brave? I'm like, you could say, with the lengths he goes to protect the people at the same time, but is he a savage as well as Vera? So that was just showing like savage side of Vera, and we've always seen the savage side because he like date raped Darlene and Shayla and stuff. So I mean, we already know that Vera doesn't really have a very good track record, like they say. And then he's like, I'm gone and stuff. He's like, every existence, everything, blah blah blah. And then they're leaving in a different car, so I was just like, it's like they already knew that he was gonna break out. I mean, obviously, but you know, the way how it goes. And then he's like, Shayla? He's like, where's Shayla and stuff? And then he gives him the keys and to the car. And then he's like, oh, he's like, well, he's like, she was with you the whole time and stuff. And then he kind of like, what? Like, what do you mean? And then like looks at the trunk and stuff. And then he opens the trunk and we see Shayla dead. I mean, was this sad for Elliot? Of course, but that's one less hoe that we have to worry about. So low-key, I was kind of happy that Shayla was dead because, you know, me, I'm like, that's one less hoe I gotta compete with to get Rami Malek. So I was like, Ariana Grande, I was like, one less problem. So I had one less problem after Shayla's dead. So I was like, ooh, I'm sad for you, Elliot, but Rami Malek, I'm like, one less hoe to compete with. And then I thought, I'm like, is that Vera breaking Elliot down like he broke down Bill? You know, I'm like, oh, karma. Because Vera's all like, oh, like astrology and like zodiac signs or whatever, you know, and like he's very like celestial, like into the universe. So I was like, is that kind of like the universe's way of getting karma on Elliot and stuff like that? And I was just like, oh, girl, I was like, he got you back. I was like, in the worst way possible, but at the same time, it's like Avengers and stuff, and how Mr. Robot, I guess, foreshadowed it in a way, like, let her be a memory, and obviously she is a memory now and stuff, and then like, it shows, like, the cops getting closer, so he just puts on his hoodie and he leaves and stuff. And the next episode, honestly, seems like it's going to be very intense as well. And I know Terry Goldman, the social media person of USA, even tweeted, like, oh, you thought this episode was intense? Wait until the next one. Like, you don't know what's coming. And stuff. And then, like, the previews it shows is, like, Mr. Robot's like, I am crazy and stuff. And he points a gun at Bill Cosby's head. And I think in one of the previous episodes, Elliot was like, oh, Mr. Robot is crazy and stuff. And he's like, why take what we have or something like that? And like he throws stuff, like Tyrell was going those little things. So I don't know, the next episode seems like a breakdown of Mr. Robot or something, like some kind of like mental crazy breakdown and stuff. Like he's like, oh, I have all this power or something, like we're so close or whatever. So like I said, this episode kind of showed, I guess, low-key confirmed that Elliot's being played, and he's always being played, and he's never gonna have the power that he thinks he has and stuff, and it's always being used, and it's like a little web and stuff. But now I guess he's gonna be like Iggy Azalea, Rita Ora, Black Widow on Vera and stuff. So I don't know, this episode is really intense, and even though Shayla's dead, I'm just like, one less problem. So, that was my little recap on episode. I always forget what I'm talking about some days because I talk so much, but then I take so many notes at the same time. And that was episode 1.5, Brave Traveler. So, brave traveler in the sense of, I guess, Vera was brave in killing Shayla, like they say, and now he's going to travel the world because he's a fugitive and stuff, like he even said at the end of the episode. But that was my recap on episode 1.5, Brave Traveler, like I just said. So, until next time, I hope you liked that. Leave some comments and theories about the show and everything and what you like about the show and everything like that. This is probably going to be the longest recap, and I feel like there's just going to get longer and longer from here because there's a lot of dialogue. But, like I said, my bae, Rami Malek, I want to say hi. Hi to Rami Malek, and until next time, I'll come back with a review, a recap, or whatever. Who knows, a vlog. You never know what you're getting with me. And, like, I always never know how to end these episodes, so I don't know. I mean, end these recaps, so. Like I said, USA, Sam Esmail, y'all deserve props for this, awards and stuff, and hit me up, because we can get that promo for Mr. Robot. I have a lot of, like, little metaphors and stuff that I haven't planned to get promo, so. Terry Goldman, I'm waiting. And once again, hi to Rami Malek, my bae, and you can watch the reviews on my jewelry and stuff like that. I'll probably put some cards in here, but I'll probably put it for the other episodes and everything like that. So, until next time, I want to say hi to Rami Malek.